Verse of the day 17. Then the Lord said to him, Peace be with you. Do not fear, you shall not die. Judges chapter 6 verse 23. Judges chapter 6 describes the calling of Gideon, a humble and fearful man, to deliver Israel from the oppression of the Midianites. When the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon, he initially doubted his ability to lead and questioned why Israel was suffering. After a miraculous sign confirmed God's presence, Gideon became overwhelmed with fear, realizing he had encountered the divine. In verse 23, God reassures Gideon with words of peace, calming his fears and confirming that he would not die. This reassurance empowered Gideon to trust in God's calling and step into his role as a leader and deliverer. This verse is a powerful declaration of God's peace and reassurance. Peace be with you. God offers Gideon his peace, calming his anxiety and fear. This peace signifies God's presence and his intention to work through Gideon. Do not fear. Fear is addressed directly, as God assures Gideon that he has no reason to be afraid, especially of death or failure, because God is with him. You shall not die. In a culture that feared direct encounters with the divine, God reassures Gideon that this encounter is not for judgment but for commissioning him to fulfill God's purpose. This verse reminds believers that God's peace is available to calm our fears, empowering us to step boldly into his plans for our lives. In Exodus chapter 3 verse 12, when Moses doubted his ability to lead Israel, God assured him, I will certainly be with you. Like Gideon, Moses received reassurance of God's presence. In Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10, Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. This verse echoes God's promise of peace and the command to reject fear. In Joshua chapter 1 verse 9, Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. God's encouragement to Joshua parallels his words to Gideon. In John chapter 14 verse 27, Jesus tells his disciples, Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Like God's words to Gideon, Jesus offers divine peace to calm fears. In 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Paul affirms that fear does not come from God, reflecting the assurance given in Judges chapter 6 verse 23. In Romans chapter 8 verse 31, If God is for us, who can be against us? This verse reminds believers of God's presence and power, eliminating fear. Judges chapter 6 verse 23 reassures believers that God's peace calms our fears and empowers us to walk confidently in his calling. Just as Gideon was overwhelmed by his inadequacies, we too may feel unqualified or afraid when God calls us to a task. This verse reminds us that God's presence provides peace that surpasses our fears. For the church today, this is an invitation to trust God's plans, even when they seem daunting. It challenges us to move forward with faith, relying on God's peace and strength rather than our own abilities. By embracing his peace, we can step into his purposes with courage and assurance. God bless you and give you grace after grace.